Okay, welcome to the first video in this series on practicalities of measurement. Now, hopefully you've got your booklet printed out in front of you and you're able to follow along with this video. As with all videos, you can pause and go back and replay things as you need to go over things with a bit more depth. And if you still need further explanation and clarification, make sure you get in touch with your teacher either in person in the classroom or via chat on Teams. Okay, so first lesson, well, with the booklet itself, we can see we've got a list of contents, pretty long for this one, but there's a lot to cover. And we've also got a list of exercises. Now with this list of exercises, we've got exercises to complete for each lesson. So we've got 7 lessons in this topic. We've got the skills column and the understandings column. So the skills column is usually a little bit, the questions there are a little bit easier, and you should aim to definitely do as much of those as you can. Understanding requires you to read questions, get a little bit more depth of understanding. It's a bit more challenging in some cases, so definitely to challenge yourself, you should try to complete these questions as well. But as a minimum, you should be doing the skills ones. Okay. All right. So at the beginning, I've just put this little bit here just to have a think, just to motivate the topic. The first one's about measurement. So all things measurement. You're a future tradesperson. You probably have been in workshops and things like that already, where you're having to measure things in order to make things fit, of course, or to build something. You can imagine it's very crucial. There are some parts of this that might be more relevant than others, but the way that I want you to think about it is the more you understand, the more you know, the more employable you will become. Okay? All right, so lesson 1, getting into it. Metric units of measurement. So in most places around the world, things are measured using the metric system. Okay, you'll have heard of most of the ones that you use in trade, but we need to understand how the units relate to each other and what they measure. Okay, now just as a caveat, I know in metals and engineering, sometimes in auto and things as well, you've got things imperial and metric, and as you do those practical subjects, you will get an understanding. But within this topic, we go deeply into metric units, and a lot of things are still measured in metric. In fact, everything is. So that's why we're going into a lot of detail with this. Okay, so mass. Units of mass are used to measure how, and you can copy this down as well, how heavy things are. Okay. So complete this conversion diagram for mass. So basically, we've got these 4 units of mass that we're looking at. Most things will be in grams or kilograms that you've had experience in, but of course, small things measured in milligrams, very heavy things obviously measured in tons, and this is how they relate. So if you've got a certain number of grams, you need to multiply it by 1,000 to get that number of milligrams, right? So for example, if you've got 3 grams, you multiply it by 1,000 and you get 3,000 milligrams, okay? Now if you've got milligrams to go back to grams, you need to divide by 1,000. That's what goes there, okay? From grams to kilograms, you need to divide by 1,000, and then we're multiplying to go the other direction. Oh, sorry, that's not 3,000. It's supposed to say 1,000. Okay, and to go from kilograms to tons, we're going to be dividing by 1,000, and from tons to kilograms, we are multiplying. So something that you should be able to pick up from this is that as we're going from a large unit to a small unit, we are multiplying. Okay, now in all of these, the number is 1,000. Okay, it's not always the way, but it's definitely a power of 10. Okay, and that's the beauty of the metric system. It's always a power of 10. Okay, complete this conversion diagram for length. So kilometers to meters is times by 1,000 because there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. But when we're going from meters to centimeters, we're timesing by 100. Why? Because there's 100 centimeters in a meter. Okay? And then when we're going from centimeters to millimeters, we are timesing by 10 because there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. Now going back up, we are dividing. Okay, so going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, we are dividing. So we're going to be dividing by 10. Here we're going to be dividing by 100. And here we're going to be dividing by 1,000. Capacity. Capacity is a measure of quantity of liquids and gases. Okay, so this conversion diagram for capacity, basically only look at these 3 units. We've got kiloliters, liters, and milliliters. So from kiloliters to liters, we're timesing by 1,000. And from liters to milliliters, we're timesing by 1,000 as well. Okay? And of course, we do the opposite going back up. Dividing by 1,000, dividing by 1,000. Okay, so we've got these diagrams. Okay, we need to know how to use them. Okay, what kind of problems can we use them to solve? Well, it's these ones here. So we're looking at example 1. Complete these conversions into the units given. So 2.6 kilometers into some number of meters. Some of you already probably know what to do, but if we want to use the diagram, we're going kilometers to meters. So kilometers to meters, so we want to times by 1,000. So that's what we'll do. And we'll just write that down as well. We'll just say times by 1,000 so we know what we're doing, and we'll write the answer in. Okay, if you're not sure how to times by 1,000, you can use a calculator, but that's fine as well. 450 millimeters to meters. So again, we're looking at lengths. So millimeters to meters, what do we need to do? We're in millimeters, we need to get to meters. Now, what we need to do is first we need to divide by 10, then we need to divide by 100, okay? Or you can divide by 1,000 to do that in one step, okay? So you can write that any way you want. I'm going to just say divide by 1,000. And the answer to that is 0.45 meters. Okay, 0.032 tons to grams. Tons to grams. So we're going from tons all the way down to grams. So we need to times by 1,000 and times by 1,000 again. Okay, so we're timesing by 1,000 twice. Times by 1,000, times by 1,000. Now you might be thinking that's times by 2,000, but it's not. Okay, if I was timesing by 3, then timesing by 4, I'm not timesing by 7, am I, in total? I'm timesing by 12. Okay, I've got to multiply them together. So 1,000 times 1,000, that's 1,000,000. Okay, so that is going to be, and I'll use the calculator for this one. .032 times 1,000 times 1,000 is 32,000. 32,000 grams. All right, we're going from milligrams to kilograms. So milligrams is over here, and to grams, we want to just divide by 1,000. So we're just dividing by 1,000. Oh, sorry, we're going to kilograms. Sorry. So we need to divide by 1,000 again. So we're dividing by 1,000 twice. So when we divide by 1,000 once, we get 34. And then we're going to divide again, and we get 0.034 kilograms. Kiloliters to liters. Kiloliters times 1,000 gets us to liters. So we're going to times by 1,000. So we get 6,700 liters. And finally, 9 mils to kiloliters. We're going to divide by 1,000 twice, we can see. Okay? Divide by 1,000 twice. Okay. In other words, I can write it a different way. That's the same as dividing by 1,000,000. 2, 2, like that. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's dividing by 1,000,000. Okay. And that's the end of lesson 1. So now what you need to do is you need to go up to this page, tells you which questions you need to do. So we're doing exercise 2C, and you're doing question 2, the first column of questions from question 2, first column from question 4, and so on. Once you've done all those, you can do some of these understanding questions as well to get a more thorough understanding. Remember, if you have any questions, please ask. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. All right. See you guys.